Welcome to Navigating Public Budgets, a short video series where we explore how public budgeting in Kenya affects our lives. So far, we've learned about the four main stages of budget process: formulation, approval, implementation, and evaluation. In today's episode, we are going to focus on budget implementation and audit. We say every day is a budget day because budget implementation happens every day. This is where the planning turns into action. Budget implementation is the process of using the approved budget to achieve the goals we set earlier. By this point, we already have gone through public participation, so the priorities are set. There are three key parts of budget implementation. First, cash flow and disbursement. Second is monitoring and reporting. And finally, budget revisions. We'll dive into each of these, but first, let's look at who is involved in this stage. The key actors in budget implementation are ministries, departments, counties, and agencies who are responsible for implementing their budgets. The National Treasury and Office of the Controller of Budget authorize how money is spent. Chief accountants in ministries handle the accounting side of budget execution. And finally, the Controller of Budget and the spending entities monitor and report on the spending. The report is then submitted to Parliament, who reviews the recommendation through Public Accounts Committee. In summary, the executive arm of government handles the implementation, while the legislature undertakes oversight. So after the budget estimates are approved, the appropriation bill is introduced to Parliament. This bill authorizes government to start spending from the Consolidated Fund Services. The Appropriation Act is the official go-ahead of the government to use public funds. Eventually, the cash flow process starts with revenue collection, which is done by the Kenya Revenue Authority and other sources like domestic and external borrowing. Once money is collected, the National Treasury makes a request to the Controller of Budget to approve spending. Every government entity must publish reports about how they are spending the budget. These reports cover both financial and non-financial information. The Controller of Budget also releases an independent report 30 days after the end of each quarter. This report shows how well the national and county governments are doing with their budgets, highlighting how money was spent and giving recommendations. Do you have challenges that may arise during budget implementation? Yes, a big challenge during budget implementation is pending bills. Pending bills are unsettled financial obligations that arise at the end of the financial year. For example, if you lose your phone during a border ride and agree to pay later, that is a pending bill. There are two types of pending bills: eligible and ineligible pending bills. Eligible pending bills are bills that are fully supported with requisite documentation, whereas ineligible pending bills are those bills not fully supported with supporting documentation, or rather, where goods and services were partially delivered. Why do we talk about pending bills? Pending bills are a problem because they take up money that could have been used for service delivery. Sometimes, the government needs to adjust the budget during the year, just like when you adjust your personal budget due to an expected expense. This is done through a supplementary budget. Supplementary budgets happen for a few reasons. First is when there is a shortage or surplus in revenue. Second is when there is emergency needs like during a pandemic. And finally, for a new policy changes or government initiatives. While supplementary budgets may offer opportunities for in-year adjustments, sometimes they also have some risks, like reprioritization, where priorities identified during budget implementation are altered. Disruptions of service delivery, for instance, reallocating money can slow down or stop projects that are already underway. Lack of public participation is also a risk because historically there has been no public participation in supplementary budgets, so public input is often left out. After budget implementation, it's time to look at how things went. This is where auditing comes in. Every government agency must have an internal audit system to check for irregularities. Other than that, external audits are also done by the Office of the Auditor General. Key to note that all audit reports should be made available to the public, because as citizens, we also have a right to know how our tax money is being spent. The recommendations from the Auditor General are also tabled in Parliament, where they must be acted upon to improve how government spends money. In the end, successful budget implementation depends on prudent resources management with collective effort and accountability. We can make the most of our budgets if we adhere to accountability and public participation. For more insights, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with others who want to learn about public finance. My name is 𝗘𝗽𝗶𝗶𝗁𝗂𝗃𝗂𝗃 and I'll see you next time.